We're here with Secret Spaces featuring PriFi Labs for this week's Secret Spaces. We do these every Tuesday. This Tuesday is no exception. So Tuesday, January 10th edition of Secret Spaces. We're proud and happy to be featuring yet another team of builders in the secret ecosystem to talk about their Web3 security tool suite. Sit back and relax. We're going to be kicking off in a second. We've got them up here with us on stage. If you joined us last week on Secret Spaces, you got to hear from at least a dozen dApps building in the secret ecosystem that were all featured as part of our ecosystem roadmap. This week, we are speaking directly with PriFi Labs, one of those teams, to hear about what they are building using secret contracts. It's super exciting. We're going to kick off in just a sec. If you read our pinned tweet today, you will also see, as usual, that we're giving away secret badges, free to mint, secret NFTs with secrets inside. And if you claim this NFT, you will get to unlock something in the private metadata. So if you claim secret NFTs, you are the only person who can decrypt that private metadata and see what's inside them for yourself. Every time we hold the Secret Spaces, we try to give one away. This week, yet again, we've got one for you. We'll give you the claim code for that badge in just a second, because you will need the claim code in order to claim the secret badge. For right now, sit tight. We're going to kick off in a second, and then we will share that claim code. We encourage you to mint your own secret badge so that you can show that you were here supporting one of the amazing teams in our ecosystem anytime you want or not. We're 7 minutes past the hour. Let's kick it off because I know we've got quite a bit to get through. We want to leave time for questions and broader ecosystem updates. I think we'll have a bit more time than usual to go through those ecosystem updates, which is good because we got a couple things we want to make sure we mention, including some places that you might be able to find the secret ecosystem around the world in the coming months. But let's start off with PriFi Labs. So again, this is Secret Spaces, January 10th edition. We are here with the PriFi Labs team. I'm going to hand it over to them to make a quick personal introduction of themselves before we get into the project. So let me hand it over to the PriFi Labs account. Let us know who you are and what your role with the project is.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, everyone. Well, thank you for having me on Secret Space. That's my second time. Last week, I didn't know what to expect, but I was very pleased to actually see a lot of people involved and building on Secret Network. So a little bit about PriFi Labs. So I'm actually representing PriFi Labs. I'm Thierry Sands. I'm the founder. And I founded actually PriFi Lab with another person, David Liu, who is actually not with us today. He's in Japan right now. So a little story about how we started. So actually, I'm a professor at University of Toronto in Canada, and my expertise is cybersecurity. So I teach and I do research in security, and so of course I've been looking at blockchain. First time I think was 2013. I look at Bitcoin, and then again with a student of mine, we did some kind of research on Ethereum in 2016. But still, I mean, I looked at it. I found it interesting, but I wasn't very convinced until like early 2022. A former student of mine, so David, came to me and say, "Hey, let's talk about security on blockchains." And then we had kind of a very long chat, and then we decided, okay, to work together during a few months and to kind of like look at what's out there. And the problem that we were trying to solve is like, okay, right now on Ethereum, there is no security, and I mean, yeah, no, it's secure, but it's secure towards integrity, right? There is no confidentiality on Ethereum. And we said, okay, how can we provide more confidentiality on Ethereum? So that was our problem. I should mention the following actually. So my co-founder David, so he was a former student of mine, but then once he graduated 3 years ago, he didn't want to go to work for a company, and he was really interested in crypto. And so he started actually himself to invest in some crypto, and then realized that some of the token he was investing in were not very well written. I mean, well coded. And so he started to actually fix a lot of things on the blockchain, and then got a name for himself. And then at some point, people ask him, it's like, hey, you know how to build those things. How about you build a product for us? And so he started actually a company. This company is called Diap Technology, and it's basically a service company building for other companies, building crypto. So it was very, very successful in that. But then he said, now I want to build a product and I want to work in security. So that's how we came together. Um, so so we started actually to do some research. So of course we looked at all the technology. So we looked at, of course, zero knowledge proof and so on. And then we found actually two blockchains. We found Oasis and we found Secret Network. And so we started to play a little bit with those two technology. And yeah, they were very interesting. So the idea of like, I mean, beyond just the privacy aspect of zero knowledge proof, which is like, hiding only the issuer or hiding the amount of coin, it's also like, having this kind of confidential computing and having a smart contract where actually you protect the data and you protect the execution. So that was very interesting. So we played with both at first, but then very quickly we moved towards Secret Network for two reasons. One is at that time, actually, Oasis, I mean, now I looked at it recently, so Oasis has more, but at that time it was only targeting actually a Solidity smart contract and actually having some kind of a confidential EVM. And to me, that was kind of limiting, right? Because so okay, it's great because you can have a smart contract and hide some state, but there are things that you cannot do with Solidity. So, for example, you cannot do encryption and hashing and even signing inside a contract. And to me, coming from a security background, being able to do those kind of things, well, it kind of enable you to actually implement a very complex crypto protocol. And so that was more interesting to have an ecosystem where you can do that in Rust and you can do these kind of things. And the other reason was actually David told me, it's like, hey, actually, Secret Network is based on Cosmos SDK, and the Cosmos SDK is kind of quite mature and quite robust. So we decided actually to move to Secret Network. And then we say, okay, we want to learn this technology, but beyond just implementing, just doing a tutorial or something like that, or a hello world, we say, okay, let's try to build something, and let's try to build something ambitious so that we are gonna test ourselves and test the technology at the same time. So at that time, we had this kind of we are looking at the problem of the usability problem of the mnemonic phrase when you set up a wallet. And we kind of say, okay, how can we change the user experience of a user to avoid having to remember this kind of mnemonic phrase. And so we bounced a bunch of ideas and so on, but at some point we say, hey, how about we actually make a backup of this mnemonic phrase on the blockchain itself? It sounds very counterintuitive, but why not? I mean, if Secret Network is supposed to protect your secret, we can have a smart contract that holds this passphrase for you. And the idea was, okay, how do you recover it? Well, the day you have lost everything, you don't have access to your computer, don't have access to your phone, but most likely you have access to your email. And that's kind of, we wanted to actually replicate something that you do when you have just a login and password, which is if you lose your password, you just recover it using an email. So we say, okay, let's try to have the same kind of user experience. It's not perfect in terms of security, but it was different. So we did that. So it was, I think, May or June. We started to write a proposal that we submitted, I think, maybe in July. We submitted a grant, and then we got awarded. So then, once we got the grant, well, we had to work on it. So together with David, we started to work on it. We also recruited another engineer, Kevin, who has been with us since. And we have developed this idea. Now it's fully implemented. It's deployed on testnet, and you can try it on our website. So that's a product called the Locker. And I talked about it last week. And so there, the idea is really like, you kind of like enter your email and so on. Your email is verified, and then you can submit your passphrase. And the day you need it, you don't need to use the same wallet. You can actually create yet another wallet and so on. And using your email again, you can recover your memory phrase. Um, it's everything is stored on the blockchain, except the email part. But we made it so that even if an attacker kind of attack your email, he cannot get any secret and so on. Or I mean, it's harder for the attacker to get it. So that's a little bit our story so far. Yeah.
Amazing and thorough. It's great to kind of hear the journey here. Sometimes we have DApp teams on, and they actually date back in our ecosystem since something like 2017. So a lot of the DApps that
Mm,
have launched to date in the secret ecosystem are teams that are deeply familiar with our own progression from those early days,
mm,
at MIT, just in white paper mode before actually being in the public blockchain ecosystem, before actually getting our mainnet live. A lot of those teams then had the familiarity with the core development teams like at Secret Labs in the network. They had familiarity with some of the underlying technologies. Maybe they were already
mm.
operating nodes. That was sort of wave one of dApps in the network. But
Yeah.
clearly, you're part of this wave two. People
Yeah.
who are trying to build these next generation Web3 products. We're exploring the best in class available mainnet solutions for getting this stuff to market, and you've landed on secret. It just takes time,
Mm,
obviously, to get through that whole step from, oh, what is this? Like, what are we trying to build? Then what kind of foundation will we need for that? And then discovering secret, then talking to secret, then trying to build on secret. Obviously, those things can kind of take a while. But I do think that 2023 is the
mm,
year where more and more of these teams will be successful in getting to mainnet and then becoming these case studies for other teams that will come in, wave three, wave four, and beyond to build the even nexter generation dApps that are leveraging secret contracts in the network. Did you
mm.
did you have a pretty good experience coming into the ecosystem and discovering the tools that you needed to discover, discovering the people you needed to discover? Was that generally a good process?
So, I mean, myself, I don't have an extended kind of experience in blockchain development in general. My co-founder David, yes, he has. I mean, yeah, he has been working on it a lot. Yeah, actually, this the other company he has 40 something blockchain developers and so on. So he's doing that at a very kind of big scale. So when I came, actually, I was kind of relying on him and so on to kind of to look into those things. And I've learned a lot, actually. I've learned a lot from him. And I've learned a lot by building. I mean, I was involved in coding as well. But that's the best way to learn. I mean, that's how I learn technology. It's like, okay, I build something and then I've learned that. So in terms of support, I, I mean, I remember going through a documentation that was quite changing a lot, and it's actually now in a way better state than it was at the beginning. So that's great. Um, but the biggest help actually was the Discord, right? Going on Discord, looking at what kind of the questions that people ask and so on, and asking a lot of questions. I don't know if some of you are here today that answer me in the last 6 months, but yeah, thank you very much, because that was very, very helpful to understand, of course, like how to code things, but also how things work in the behind the scenes, right? Because when, especially when you're working on security, knowing how behind, how things are encrypted, how things are signed, and so on. And actually, in secret networks, not trivial. And so understanding that was key to actually make sure that our app is actually secure. Um, I like that you mentioned that I'm part of the second wave. So yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot about secret networks since then. And yeah, I mean, I saw that at first it was Enigma and so on. I was kind of like, yeah, I was surprised myself that I didn't see that earlier. I would have loved to be one of the first. Um, but I'm glad I mean, we found out like early 2022, but yeah, it was already mature. And it was very easy to build on it, and that's most probably I mean, thanks to the Cosmos SDK and then the great job of like Secret Network adding to, I mean, building this kind of privacy layer. But no, it was a good experience overall.
Sweet. Like I said, we're always learning, so please let us know wherever we can improve in this sort of things. And of course, Secret Agency, our agents all around the world are always here to help people coming in, whether they're developers, users, anything else. we are here to try to make that experience really great for devs who are newer to the ecosystem, but very passionate about security, privacy, and these other technologies. I'm going to pause for a quick second because we're 20 minutes in and remind people that we do have today's secret badge available to honor the PriFi team who's joining us. So please, now is your time to claim that secret badge. It is free to mint. You just need the claim code, but we're about to give you the claim code. And that claim code, unsurprisingly, is security. All one word, capital letters, security. Makes sense for a privacy-focused project. Go claim your secret badge. There's something in the private metadata as well, which is great. I think it has to do with the shield, which is exciting. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say about that, but I think that's going to be really exciting for users to see.
So that's our next product. Maybe something I wanted to mention actually before we move to the shield. I was telling you about like the kind of learning we have done and so on. And as we were learning things, to me, it was really important to look inside and to see how Secret Network was working and so on. To the point, actually, we found a vulnerability in the SNIP 20 reference implementation. We found actually an attack there where the attacker it's called a side channel attack. So an attacker could guess or infer the amount the amount of ERC20 token that is inside the contract. That's because when you get the balance, the length was not padded, and so if you look at the length of the response, you can infer how much token was on this ERC20 contract. So we did that, and we find that bug, and we submitted the fix, and it was fixed within a week actually. That's kind of important, right? So to me, Secret Network it's about privacy, but it's about security, and so making sure that things are tied behind the scenes. So we are very happy with that. So now our next product, I can talk about it a little bit. So this is called the Shield. We are currently working on some kind of a light version that we hope is going to be out in next couple of months. So what's the idea behind the Shield? So in this year of me learning a lot about blockchains and so on, I've also looked at all the attacks that are going on, right? So there's been a lot of breaches that got hacked, a lot of money that were lost, right? So if you look at the numbers, actually, so 2021, $3 billion were lost. 2022, 2 months ago, it was already at 3 billion, and now it's around, I think, 3.5 billion, something like that. And so we look at the different kind of instance of attacks. So whether they are code exploits, where people find a glitch in a Solidity contract, in an Ethereum contract, and then exploit it to steal the assets, or it's kind of the good old security breach where an attacker breach into a server or to somebody's laptop or desktop and then steal the wallet private key, right? Either we do through a malware or through just a breach. So we ask ourselves, okay, how to secure that? How to make something better? So of course we look at existing solutions. So we look at Open Zeppelin Defender. We look at Gnosis Wallet. Gnosis Safe, now it's called. So that's the idea of having some kind of a protection for your smart contract. So you have a decentralized application, and then you're going to have this kind of extra layer of security. And so we thought ourselves, okay, how can we provide such a product? Okay, can we have something that is going to protect your decentralized application in case when your full wallet is compromised, or in case there is actually a bug inside your code. And so that's the idea of the Shield. The Shield, you can think about it as some kind of a firewall for your blockchain application. And what it's meant to be is some kind of a smart contract protector that you're gonna I mean, you're going to kind of give custody of your assets and your smart contract to this smart contract protector, and then you're going to define the rules of engagement. I mean, the rules of like, what kind of transaction is valid, what kind of transaction is not valid. And then once there's a transaction, do you need multi-signature approval? Is there a time lock? Is there all kind of things? So we have been working on the shield. So we kind of, so in the shield, you have some kind of a rules that you can specify. And then, it's going to be out soon. What we are targeting is actually Ethereum developers at first, because that's where most of the developers are right now. But of course, we can easily, add the fact that it's going to be compatible with Secret, but of course, any Cosmos chain. And yeah, so that's our next product, basically.
That's super exciting. Yeah, I think that people don't really understand the possibilities that secret contracts and the like are unlocking, because people are still stuck at the idea that Web3 has really only just enabled a lot of speculation-driven applications to this point. So they're just thinking about how can secret be used to build more of that, more of the same. And something we're always trying to explain to people is, well, the goal of this is to create products that could never have existed before, because we never had this kind of base layer available to build on and with before. And now the truly useful generation of applications can be built, can exist, can scale. And it's really exciting to see you guys taking the lead on that. Have there been other teams or people outside of the secret ecosystem that you've talked to that have given you really positive feedback on these ideas, or that are giving you some more ideas on like how you could even take this in future directions?
Yeah, before that, I wanted to comment on what you say at first. So yeah, it's true that right now, in terms of decentralized application, I mean, of course, most of these decentralized applications are about DeFi, right? So because, of course, like, at first we had Bitcoin, and then even if Ethereum came, it was still about like, trading coins, tokens, NFTs, but it's around DeFi. But to me, blockchain. The idea of like having this kind of contract, which are programmed on the blockchain, executed by nodes, to me, it's a new way to actually deploy software, have this software executed by a network, as opposed to provisioning your server and on the cloud and so on, and having your server basically serving your application. So now you rely on the network, and so it's a new way to deploy your software, but also a new way to monetize your software. And in the past, if you needed payment, you need to kind of like have a third party that would do the payment and so on and so forth. But now it's kind of like built in. So, and that to me is untapped. We have a look in that. The idea of secret network is quite interesting, because so imagine now that if you have something that you can build in Web 2, but you want to move it to Web 3, you have the problem of now the things that were on your backend and you were kind of doing behind the scenes without anybody looking and so on. Now, if you're on a public blockchain where everybody can see it, right? Everybody can see the state of your contract and so on, right? And that's kind of limiting. So you have to build the application knowing that everybody can look at what's happening in the backend. But with secret network, no, because now you can actually again protect it, right? You can actually have some variables and so on that are not public, and it's out there. So that's in a way changed the deal to me. And to me, the thing that is quite appealing, especially for security, because security involves a lot of, especially if you implement security protocols, a lot of encryption, a lot of signing, and so on. And now the idea of like you can do that actually on chain, so you can have actually a private key stored on chain secretly, and be protected, and then do signing or encryption on chain. That's very interesting, right? Because all this stuff right now, if you want to do it, you have to do it off chain, and that defeats the purpose of being decentralized. So all of this potential is still untapped, and so yeah, I'm kind of like I'm we kind of having fun, like trying to explore all this stuff and so on. Um, but yeah, but it will take a while, and it will take like developers kind of coming to the community and then yeah, playing, experimenting. So
You know how it is. Like we already care about privacy. This
yeah.
obviously is stuff that's really exciting to us. I'm wondering how people are taking it kind of outside our own silo where
Mm,
everybody loves privacy, loves this kind of innovation. What kind of reception have you had?
mm. Um, so I mean, our first interaction was with Secret Labs people. So I mean, yeah, of course they are biased. But yeah, so they found the idea interesting and so on. So that's how they kind of get us the grant. After that, no, we have kind of worked in silo. We work on our application, also trying to find other, I mean, other ideas, other use case, and so on. Um, but something important is like, so an academic, and so to me, the best way to validate an idea is to actually publish it in an academic conference. Um, and I did that. So as after actually submitting the grant proposal to Secret Network, uh, I I took the proposal and kind of I did a little bit more of academic field, and then I submitted to a conference called FPS, which means Symposium on Foundation of and Practice of Security. Uh, and then the paper was accepted. So it's a peer review conference, and the paper was accepted. We got a lot of feedback, um, and um, and I presented it last month in December. Um, and so during the presentation, actually, I had a lot of questions. So people were interested. They found that it was kind of an interesting problem, and so I had a lot of questions. And as usual, I had a lot of what if, and then people say, okay, but how about doing that and that? And I mean, I've been kind of doing it for like 6 months, so I kind of knew why we were doing it that way. Um, but yeah, but people seem to be like genuinely interested. Even if at first it's very counterintuitive, right? How about saving your kind of the thing that you need to access the blockchain on the blockchain? Um, um, so yeah, so we had a good feedback there. But since then, we had no feedback. So now what I hope is like, and it's great that I'm here on Secret Space so that people try our app and then tell us what they think about it in terms of everything, like UX and so on. Even look at the paper and tell us, where we can maybe improve, have a version 2 or make it even more secure and more user friendly. So yeah, we're looking forward to have more feedback.
Awesome. Well, the secret community is always happy to provide tons of feedback. We may not represent every user in the Web3 world, but if we have our
Mm,
way, eventually every user in the Web3 world will be converted into a secret agent and will be passionate about building privacy protections into Web3, the protections that we don't have necessarily in the Web2 world, but obviously we're running the risk right now that we end up with even fewer privacy protections in the Web3 world than we have in the Web2 world. Maybe nominally we have more decentralization or censorship resistance, but we have very, very little privacy in Web3 as it stands and very little assurances of security. And the one thing that I know you can probably find a lot of empathy for is our emphasis on pragmatic solutions. Because in the academic world, as you know, people will write about things for a very long time, and they'll talk about all the ways you can't do things, or they'll talk about all the the latest theoretical innovations that could be
mm,
possible at the limits of things, but very very challenging to put these things into production and create pragmatic solutions that are
mm,
usable and that meet the requirements of actual everyday users or even enterprises who are expecting that
mm,
same level of security. So that is something
mm,
we've always tried to emphasize in our ecosystem, for better or for worse, right? Trying to be out there in production making these things
mm,
work, and we obviously have a lot of respect for the dApp builders who come into our ecosystem with
mm,
exactly the same mindset that
mm,
yes, they're highly skilled people from varying fields, including academia, but they have an emphasis on what can we actually
mm.
put into production? What can we build? How can we make this more tangible for the people who need the solutions
Uh,
today, not just a decade
mm.
from now?
Actually, I had this conversation several times actually because so right now, so I mean, confidential computing in general, it's something quite interesting, and there are many. many actually people in academia working on that. But one of the barrier is, and actually I tried also myself, it's quite tough. If you want to develop an app from scratch on IntelliSGX, for example, I mean, the learning curve is pretty steep and it's going to be pretty hard. And you have to deploy a lot of things and so on. I mean, I did this exercise of setting up a confidential computing VM on Azure and so on, and then building actually something. I mean, you have to start from a very low level. But actually, you don't have to do that because actually, if you develop a secret network smart contract, you have it. I mean, you can just write a program and you have actually confidential computing. So I don't say it's going to work like 100% for every use case, but most likely, if you want to just play with confidential computing, you can just actually start by developing a decentralized secret network app. And so it's kind of an easy way to prototype those things. So all the stuff about like I mean I was talking to my research community about like developing this kind of crypto protocols where you have some kind of an oracle out there and so on. Well, you can actually build it on secret network. So yeah, and that's not known. I mean that's something that we should kind of spread the word.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, we are 37 minutes in. I want to give people the opportunity here, since this is the first time we've been able to bring you on Secret Spaces as a single guest, not as part of 12 to 15 teams. If people have questions for the PriFi team, or if they just have general questions about the ecosystem as well, now's a great time to start putting your hands up. We'll try to bring as many people up on stage as have questions. But yeah, is there anything else that you wish I'd asked that you wanted to share, or just things we didn't get to? Because we're always going to leave time for you to share, like what's your social channels, website, etc. But is there anything else that you kind of wish we'd gotten to?
No, I mean, on the side, I can talk a little bit about the things I'm doing at University of Toronto, because
oh, sure.
For the first time this semester, I actually with David, we taught a course on blockchain development. So of course, I would say of course, but so we started of course with Bitcoin and so on, and we moved then to Ethereum. But towards the end, actually, we tried to open the scope to other blockchains and so on. And we have actually people from Secret Network, Melch, who came and gave a talk to our students and so on. And yeah, so students seem to be very interested, and they seem to be excited to have Rust actually as a programming language. And yeah, so so I hope now that the students are kind of trying to build on Secret Network. So yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, it's super exciting. And for those listening, if you're at a university, you have relationships with the university, we do have members of our community, secret agents, as well as developers and people from labs coming and trying to connect with student bodies all over the world. If you're interested in having somebody from Secret come and connect with students at your university, whether they're undergraduates, graduates, researchers, we're happy to do it. So just shoot us a message, reach out to the secret agents, become a secret agent, send us a DM here on Twitter, come into the Discord, whatever you need to do, get our attention. We would love to continue strengthening our university relationships, and especially doing education on privacy. Because it's not only critical for where we're going with Web3, it's just critical in general. And yeah, it is a fundamental human right. I've got one speaker up here on stage now with a question. So go ahead, Red Eyed.
Hey guys, this has been a great conversation so far, and I'm really loving the fact that the information about what Secret Network can do is reaching greater academia groups. And I guess my big question is, how can organizations or projects within the Secret Network better establish relationships with those in academia, like the PriFi Labs speaker? I know Secret University and the agency are doing a really good job reaching out. and building relationships there. But I'm curious if you think this is something that can be kind of globally tackled, or if this is going to be a lot more of a local initiative, kind of like a guerrilla marketing, and not marketing, but like guerrilla education initiative. Curious to hear your thoughts.
I'm a big fan of kind of grassroots efforts in the sense of, especially if you want to engage students, it's by building things and so showing what you can build. So it's great to have all these kind of big projects and so on, but even having like small apps, doing and I've seen. By the way, when I was building that, I was looking at that. I was looking at because sometimes the way I build is like I like to look at something that has been already built, look at how it is, and maybe actually modify it and to my own needs. And I had a hard time to find that. So for example, I don't remember who built that, but it was actually a password manager uh, built on Secret Network, and I would have loved to actually get my hands on the code. I think it was there on GitHub, and then they took it away. They removed it. So, but having this kind of I mean, having the documentation and so on, that's great. But having small examples of like, hey, here is a password manager. Here is how to the code, for example, to have a token wrap secret and so on, have a secret exchange and so on. Have this code online and have people actually dissecting it and so on to get. That's one way to educate a developer about how to build things. Now, in terms of like getting the word out, so I know Secret Network insists a lot on privacy. From a tech aspect, the difference between security and privacy is very. I mean, on a very tech level, there is no difference, right? It's really a difference on the intent. What are you trying to protect? So that's why. So I know Secret Network is insisting a lot on privacy, but saying that actually you can build security tools actually with Secret Network, and you can secure assets using Secret Network smart contract. That's also to me appealing. I mean that's appealing to me. I don't know if it's appealing for most, but that's also something that I think it's kind of overlooked.
I really appreciate that feedback, and I think what you listed out makes sense. I'm a non-technical individual. I'm not a developer, so it's always helpful to get the opinions and feedback from developers that about their experience of like how they would best be brought onto a new ecosystem or learn how to do something new. So I appreciate it.
So first of all, do people value privacy? It's getting out there yet, but it's not. We are not there yet. Let me explain something. So, for example, security, just security. I've been working on the field for more than 20 years. Security at first, it was exactly like privacy those days, which is like at first people say, why do I need that? Why do I need to be secured and secure on the internet, right? Why do I need that? And then it took some years and years because at some point, because we had malware and so on, but at some point, there was identity theft. People were losing credit card numbers and so on. And so things were real, right? And this is where people took security more seriously, right? As soon as we had kind of damage. Privacy is kind of the same thing, right? I mean, without talking about blockchain and so on, do people value privacy? Well, they start to, but many people say, hey, I don't care if Facebook has all my data. I don't care if this company has all my data and so on, right? So the privacy issue is not well understood yet. And so if you add to that the fact that crypto in general is not well understood, the fact that when you do stuff on Ethereum, well, everybody can see it, and everybody can see what's the payment you have made and so on to who. So we are very early. So we're all convinced of here that it's a big problem, but we are kind of a niche, a bubble, and getting that word out. I mean, it's what I'm saying here is like it's not only on our hands, right? Time will also do the job. So
awesome. Well, what a great question. What a great response. Clearly, there's a lot of work still to be done on education, but I think the big takeaway for me is if you want to get people excited, you have to show them what's already been done. And that fits really well generally with our pragmatic approach, right? What we love about the secret ecosystem is we can show people things that exist in production that they can go get hands-on with and use, also break, but it is something a little bit more meaningful than just saying, you know, we've written extensively about this. What do you think? Let them go and kind of see for themselves. I do think we're still very, very early, and the things that they're using are not going to feel like extremely mature products all of the time, but all the better, because I think then students can envision themselves in a position of contributing to this ecosystem, growing alongside of it and with it, as opposed to thinking they're just looking for some kind of immediate employment opportunity after school. They really realize that they can be a part of the foundational architecture of whatever's coming next for this ecosystem. To me, that would be very inspiring. Despite being a little bit removed from school myself, I think it's still inspiring for me.
And yeah, when you say like, in terms of apps, so it's great to have, okay, you have this app on Ethereum, we can build the same app, and you have privacy. So that's one angle. And again, I mean, yes, people will find that valuable once they fully understand what's the privacy problem, right? But to me, the low-hanging fruit, and that's the kind of thing we have tried to do with the locker, it's really like building an app that, you cannot build on Ethereum, right? Because, I mean, we cannot build the locker on Ethereum just because, well, Ethereum cannot just safely store your mnemonic phrase on the blockchain, right? Or not even encrypted, because you have a key management problem after that. So that's also interesting to find some kind of apps that, yes, you cannot build on Ethereum, only on secret network. And to me, I mean, at PriFi Labs, we are trying to brainstorm all the time about those stuff, and that's kind of the angle I'm trying to approach things. It's like, what can we build that we cannot build elsewhere?
Well, thank you for the question, Red Eyed. You can stay up here. I'm going to say if anybody else has questions, we'll bring you up here as well. We got about 10 minutes till the top of the hour. Usually we'll go straight to the top of the hour. I will take the opportunity to one more time repeat today's claim code, because again, there is something inside of this secret NFT that you can only see if you claim it and unlock it. And it's something that will give you an early look at the awesome work being done at PriFi Labs. So check out the pinned tweet here inside the secret space. You will see a link. Click that link. It will take you to the secret badge page with the claim code. You can claim it and mint it straight to your secret wallet. Use the claim code SECURITY, all one word, capital letters, SECURITY. Come on in, claim your secret badge, take a look inside that private metadata, get a special early look at something from the PriFi Labs team. So last chance for people to put their hands up here with questions. I can also go and do some quick hit general ecosystem updates, which I'm excited to share here at the end. We are going to be having a number of different initiatives coming over the next couple of months in the secret ecosystem. One thing to pay attention to is Secret 2.0. We did post a lot last year about Secret 2.0 and the path to expanding the range of privacy solutions that are available as part of the secret ecosystem, exploring things like fully homomorphic encryption, also exploring some changes to tokenomics or growth funds that can help lay the foundation for many, many, many more years of growth. And that's a very complex initiative, but it's also very community driven. We are definitely looking for more community engagement, community feedback. So you can go to the secret blog, blog.scrt.network. You will see a Secret 2.0 blog post there. Also at the secret forum, forum.scrt.network. You'll see some posts about Secret 2.0. Definitely take a look, get involved in the Secret 2.0 process. It won't happen without you. We really want to hear your feedback as early as we can as the planning process continues. Then, of course, you're going to be seeing a lot more educational material coming out from the network in the very near future. You can look at some improvements to the secret homepage coming that'll include better learning materials. You'll also be able to see some new blogs coming concerning privacy technologies in particular. We'll also be putting together more secret features for the apps in our ecosystem that have launched, are launching, will launch. We're definitely going to keep, of course, doing secret spaces, but being able to read about some of these things, dive a little bit deeper on the dApps in our ecosystem is hugely important. And as more dApps come to mainnet, that's going to be really critical. We did feature at least a dozen dApps last week on our ecosystem roadmap, Twitter Space. You'll have plenty to do in the secret ecosystem, plenty of projects to explore, and plenty of things to get hands-on with. So really excited for that to continue as well throughout the first quarter of this year. The next major conference that Secret Foundation, at least, is attending is ETH Denver, coming up at the end of February. We're also going to be attending Interop Summit, hosted by Axelar. So anybody who's going to be at ETH Denver, look out for us on the ground. We also have a number of events coming up, I know, in Europe and potentially in the Middle East and potentially in Asia. Basically, wherever secret agents can be active, we want to be. So if you know of conferences coming up in your local area, let us know. As a secret agent, you can get funding to attend and represent the network at events. Agents have gotten speaking opportunities. They've gotten the opportunity to attend special side events, host special events. A lot of opportunities get unlocked by being a part of that program. So definitely check out the Secret Agents program. If you want to learn more, just jump into the secret Discord, chat.scrt.network, or just learn more at scrt.network/agents. That'll help you get started on your journey. Just becoming an amazing member of that global community of privacy advocates is such an amazing opportunity. People have turned it into validators they run on the network, dApps that they're building for the network. They've become founders. They've become very important and influential members of the ecosystem as a result of working through that program and directly helping us scale this message of privacy and directly helping us scale Secret's global adoption. So please check it out, and hopefully you'll make it to one of the many events that secret agents are attending all around the world. We'll find you there, and we'll help pull you deeper into the rabbit hole that is the secret ecosystem and Web3 privacy. So yes, definitely suggest events that you want to see us at, because there's a good chance we will indeed see you there. As we go into next quarter, there's a bunch of other events happening all around the world, including Consensus in Austin. So keep a lookout for the secret teams. Look for those privacy hats. Look for our secret shirts. We do like to give away special things at these conferences that you can only get from us at these conferences. I think some of you listening probably have some of our special coins from Austin or Miami or even Medellin from years past. So definitely looking forward to giving more of those away as we get around the world here in 2023. So that's all the general ecosystem updates that we have. I'm going to give one more call for people to come here, get up on stage if they've got any more questions for the PriFi team or any more questions about the secret ecosystem. In the meantime, going to hand it back over. PriFi, where can people learn more about the project? How can they follow your progress? How can they hear about what's happening next? And is there anything you want people to do right now?
So right now we haven't done a lot of kind of announcements and so on, but people can follow us, of course, on Twitter. I mean, as soon as we have our Shield beta version released or the final version of the locker released, we're going to announce it there. I'm also on the Discord if you want to engage me there. So right now, how people can help is like go to PriFiLabs.com. There is the locker. You can try it. It's on testnet. So just provision your wallet with some secret token, a secret coin on Purser to testnet, and then try it. So I know right now maybe the UI is a bit rough. It's still like missing some text and so on. We're working on that, but it's fully functional. So there's some documentation as well that there's a draft. So look at it and yes, give us feedback. I know we don't have contact information on the website yet, but I'm gonna fix that in this week. So try it. Give us feedback if you're interested in the technical aspect. Read the white paper, and yeah, we're looking forward to hear what you think about it.
All right. Well, you heard it here from the PriFi team. Definitely give them a follow here on Twitter. That's always what we recommend if you want to keep in touch with the teams that we bring onto Secret Spaces. We'll wrap up for this week. I think we're good on questions, but we will be doing this again in a week. January 17th, we'll be back with a new episode of Secret Spaces. So stay tuned for that with new guests. Make sure you claim to that secret badge from today. Make sure you are collecting all the Secret Spaces badges. We'll probably have some opportunities in the very near future, for those of you who have been collecting Secret Spaces badges along the way. We really do appreciate your support and really appreciate everyone who continues to show up week after week to support the teams in the secret ecosystem who are building the application layer, who are pushing global adoption forward for privacy within Web3, not only to our guests, but to our audiences. Thank you again very, very much. We will see you here again in a week then for the next Secret Spaces. In the meantime, we'll see you around the Discord, on Twitter, wherever you are. Looking forward to continuing the conversation with all of you, anywhere you are in the world. Hope you guys have a great new year, and we'll see you back here in a week for the next
Thank you for having
Secret
me.
Spaces.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you for coming back.
Bye.
Glad to be able to feature you again, and best of luck building. Let us know how we can help.
Thank you.
Cheers.